everybody, it's Angie and welcome to Hot and Flashy. Today's video is about what to do when your skin is so dry that it's actually flaky and how to apply your makeup when your skin is in this bad condition. Now there's many reasons why women have dry skin. Some people just have dry skin. Women who are older, especially, who are using anti-aging treatments or who have gone through menopause are especially susceptible to having dry skin, dry, flaky, irritated skin. Now if you're using retin A or even a retinol, or if you're using glycolic acid or even vitamin C, all these things can cause skin cell turnover or they're exfoliants. So on occasion, your skin can be very dry, and even if it's not dry, it can be really flaky. So on those terrible skin flake days when you've got flakes hanging off your eyebrows and flakes in your hairline, what do? How do you apply your makeup? How do you make it so that your makeup doesn't stick more in the dry areas and less in your normal areas? Now, if you wake up in the morning and you look in the mirror and that you find your skin is really dry and flaky, what you should do is when you wash your face, try to use a gentle face wash that you can use with either a soft cloth or a Clarisonic Mia 2. That's great for getting off flakes that are hanging on there. I don't really like the exfoliating face washes with the scrubby particles in them because I feel like that's a little too harsh on your skin. So after you wash your face, just be sure to moisturize really well. So you want something that has good moisturizers in it. The best humectants on the market are glycerin, cocoa butter, shea butter, and or hyaluronic acid. So look for products that have those ingredients in them. So then you're going to put on not a heavy moisturizer, but just a nice moisturizing base to help your skin start getting moisturized. Try to do most of your intense moisturization at night because you're asleep, that's when your skin repairs itself. So use a thicker, creamier moisturizer then and let that soak in all night. So when you get up in the morning, your skin won't be so dry and flaky. And as you know, your skin also responds to things that you take in from the inside. So remember to drink a lot of water and to eat a lot of foods with good fats in them, like avocados and olive oil and omega-3 fatty acids like that, and that all helps your skin to stay a little bit moister. I'm not saying you can do it all from the inside, but it's a group effort. You got to get the inside as well as the outside. All right, so that's what you can do to help your skin, and now here's what you can do to put on your makeup and have it come out looking like you are not a dried up old prune. All right, so let's get started. The first thing that I like to do is to just use a slightly damp washcloth to gently kind of rub the area. You're not putting on a lot of pressure because you don't want to be ruffling up any of the other dead skin cells that are still glued on. You want them to stay, but you're just trying to get off anything that is, sticking up, and you want to make it lay nice and flat. I just go around the edges like this, and that should do it. So as you can see, I'm not going in and like rubbing and scrubbing. This is just to get off any last ones that are on there, okay? A lot of the times they kind of hang out in my eyebrows, so I like to use a spoolie just to get those off. And you have to be careful not to touch the spoolie all the way down to your skin because this is like a little scrubbing brush. So if you get it all the way to your skin, you're gonna, again, make those dead skin cells flake off and fluff up. So you're just gonna go in ever so gently and pick off any flakes that are on there. So you are going to need a primer before you put on your foundation. And I would recommend using a silicone-based primer because that will set up a nice even surface. What tends to happen is your dry spots, of course, grab more, and so they get lots of foundation and they look cakey, and then your oily spots grab less. I have two here today. I'm going to use the Benefit. This is Rimmel Fix and Perfect, and this is Benefit POREfessional. These are both silicone-based primers, and so either one or whatever you have at home that's silicone based would be great for this. All right, so with this, the key to all this is patting. We're not going to ever rub anything because once you start rubbing is when the skin flakes start popping off and balling up, and then you have just this shower of skin flakes. A pearl-sized amount of this. Just going to warm it up between my fingers, and then I'm just going to pat it on my face, paying closer attention to the drier areas where I need it more. So just going to pat it around, and normally you would kind of rub this on, but like I said, we don't want anything to start standing up. All right, So that is done. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is under eye concealer. You can do it with your fingers, patting it like we just did with the primer, but the method that I prefer by far is to use a blending sponge, and these are great. You can pick these up for cheap. There are expensive ones that you can get that are also great. You dampen this in water and it puffs up, and once it's puffed up then it's ready to use. It's nice and soft. Today I'm going to be using the Lorac Touch Up To Go concealer pen. And I love this because it's moisturizing and it has anti-aging ingredients in it. So if your skin is really dry, especially in your under eye area, this is a nice product. So you just give it one little pump, and you can see there's some comes out there. And this I'm just going to brush on under my eyes. I don't use a lot. So you use the pointy end. And you're just dabbing and pressing. Now we'll move on to the foundation. Now for today, since I used a silicone-based concealer, I'm also going to use a silicone-based foundation so that they will play nicely together. Sometimes if you use something that is water-based with a silicone-based, or if you use an oil-based with a silicone-based, it will ball up and slough off, especially if you're rubbing, which we're not doing anyway. So I'm going to use Estee Lauder Double Wear Light today. And this is in shade number 2. All right, so I'm just going to put about a big pea-size amount on the back of my hand. I'm going to use the same blending sponge, whereas before I used the pointy end, now I'm going to use the fat end. I'm just going to pick up a little bit of that color on there, and then I'm just going to start pouncing it on my skin. So we're just, people call it pouncing. It's kind of a bouncy kind of movement. So you're basically just pressing it into your skin. And if you've never used one of these before, they are really terrific. I love to apply foundation with this. It makes it go on nice and sheer. I'm kind of a natural looking makeup person. I much prefer a nice natural look. Right now I am going to go back in and build this up a little bit because, as you could see from before, my skin is in pretty bad condition. I'm breaking out as usual and it's dry, so it's just kind of crazy. So now I'm going to do a little concealing on these. So this is NYX Wonder Pencil. This is not a traditional concealer, but it's one that I like to use. It's really creamy and it goes on very easily, and I get it just slightly lighter than my skin tone. You use whatever you want, whatever you have, okay? So I'm just going to go in and color over all of my polka dots. And yes, I am going to have little white polka dots at first, and that's fine because once I go over it again with the blending sponge, it will blend this all together. Okay, because it'll pick up a little bit of this and distribute it. I'm just going to take another little, like a half a squirt, because this is going to be mainly just for getting in the corners and places that I missed before and going over. So I'm just going to get some of that on there. I'm just going to go over these areas where it needs a little more coverage. And then I'm going to take the pointy end and go around the edges of my nose, up here, the corners of my eyes. I'm just going to get off the rest of that. So now that's all set. We've done all that pouncing. Now, most people like to use a setting powder with their foundation, and when your skin is dry, the powder can look a little flaky. So the best thing to do is probably to use a setting spray instead of a setting powder. But I am going to show you both just for the sake of the demonstration, so you can see how to apply either one so that it will look good, and you can actually use both if you want. So I have the e.l.f. Mist and Set setting spray, and I have this e.l.f. brush. I'm not going to spray my whole face. I'm going to spray this on the brush. Ooh. A little on both sides, and then I'm just going to use it and I'm going to pat it, especially under my eyes where I have the under eye concealer. And then I'm just going to kind of pat it in the areas where I'm drier and I really need to set the makeup. So I'm going to do a couple more spritzes, and I'm going to do around my hairline so that no flakes will come up there. I'm going to do on my nose because I'm usually flaky there. And one more spritz should do it. And I always end up with flakes around the corners of my mouth. All right, now if you were going to use a powder, I'm going to use Lorac Porefection today, and this is in color number PF2. Now, if you are going to use a powder, I would recommend that you either use your sponge to do the powder. You can do that. You just press it right in there, and then you just press it on your face wherever you want to have the powder. Or use a very, very light, airy, fluffy brush that is not very densely packed. So you can see how loose and floppy that is. So when you're applying the powder, you're not going to be getting a heavy coating. So you're just going to take the tiniest bit of powder, you're just going to press it into the areas where you need the powder. The dry part of your face, where I have dryness, I'm not going to put the powder. But that will help to set it so that you will be good all day. And the thing with having super dry skin and flakes is you want your makeup to be set for the day. You don't want to have to be messing around with it, because the more you mess around with it, the more the flakes are going to show. Okay, now for the blush, if you have a cream blush, that I think is the best for when your skin is dry. I'm going to use the Nars blush today. This is in Maui. So we're going to Hawaii. And again, in order to pat this on, I'm going to use a flat foundation brush for this. So usually I would put this on by going whoosh, whoosh, and then rubbing it in with my fingers. No good when your skin's dry. So you're just going to take it and you're just going to pat the flat brush in there, and then you're just going to pat it on your cheeks. So there's one done. We'll do the other. All right, so that is how to apply your makeup when your skin is very dry and flaky. A little lipstick and eye makeup, and I will be good to go. So thanks for watching, everybody. I hope you found the video helpful. And as always, take care. Bye-bye.